Hello. Hi. Welcome. How's everyone tonight? Let me know if you can hear me okay. Resident asks, full cat, Ivy and Victor. Yeah. I don't know why I ended up drawing this, but I don't know. I felt the need to unwind a little bit with something fun and silly, so. Resident asks, been overworked lately? Well, every day is a work day, but I mean, it generally doesn't feel like work most of the time, but some other stressful stuff going on, so I just felt like drawing something I could laugh at a little bit, I guess. Nothing serious or anything. Yeah, a little bit stressed. Who doesn't feel stressed, though? Hello, Maclar. Hello, Koi Pondering. Koi Pondering, I believe I actually owe you a one of the digital doodle rewards. If you want one, you can go ahead and message me on Patreon about it. I think I had tried messaging you at some point about it, but didn't hear back. Of course, if you don't want one, that's okay too. But or if you don't know what you want yet, that's fine too. Just wanted to make sure you got what you were owed. Oh, it's Koi Pondering says I take forever to decide. No, it's no problem. Take your time. No rush at all. Just I wasn't sure if my messages were getting through, or if you just didn't realize that you could just tell me what you wanted or something. But as long as you know, that's fine. I appreciate the support. Thank you. Is it Poem Cat? Poem Cat? Hello. Sorry about the fireworks. I guess that was kind of inevitable though, so. I suspect you guys can hear that. Yeah, it's fireworks. My neighborhood goes crazy with it every year for about the entire month leading up to the 4th of July, honestly. And then for several weeks after as well. And then they do it again for Labor Day. It is intense popcorn, yes. Hello, Risk Pig and Not Terribly Clever. Welcome. Just having a little fun with a goofy little drawing here. I'll do some coloring on it a little later as I clean it up a bit. Mackler says, do you prefer long-haired cats or short-haired cats? Or non-haired cats? I like both. Well, all three, actually. I have a friend who has a couple of hairless cats, and they're kind of neat looking. They're like warm to the touch. They've got just like a slight peach fuzz all over their body. It's a little weird, but in a cute way. And most of my cats are short hair cats, which I like. I like the lanky, sleek look of a short-haired cat, but I also like, I got a cat, Luca, who's a big, fluffy Maine Coon, who looks kind of like, a little like Victor, except he's gray. And, I think he's kind of good looking, too. Looks like a little dragon sometimes. Yeah, peach cats, peach fuzz cats. Should be the Georgia State cat. Koi Pondering says, I love the big fluffy monsters, which is how I somehow have 3 cats with short hair. Yeah, it just works out that way sometimes. Sometimes you just don't get what you want, but you get what you need, I guess. Evil Industrialist says, love the angularity of Victor, much more obvious here. Say, do you ever find yourself seeing events around you through a more cat-like lens, like they act like a bunch of cats? Seeing events around me, I don't know. I guess I've always felt a little bit more in tune with cats than other animals. They're kind of shy and prefer to be alone, so I don't know, maybe I've always seen things through a cat-like lens. I'm not too wild about the fireworks going on right now, and neither are my cats. One of my cats, she passed away a long time ago, but she used to, when fireworks would go off or thunderstorms, she would walk into the kitchen, open a cabinet, crawl inside, and the door would just close behind her. She just kind of tuck herself away for the duration in a cabinet. My current cats are a little more tolerant of it, but they're not too crazy about it. I've got a closet in the kitchen that has a has like a mouse hole shaped opening cut into it, but it's cat sized, so they like to hide out in there. Figured I'd push the character design elements, the shapes a bit for these little drawings and make Victor look like a blocky square. Macklar says, have you ever owned a dog or do you not like dogs? Never have owned one. I do like dogs, and I did have a dog when I was a kid, a black dog named Nico, actually. And did a bunch of inadvertent dog rescue when I was a kid as well. For some reason, we had a bunch of dogs. I don't know if people were dumping them in our neighborhood or what, but we kept ending up with them living in our garage for short periods of time until we could either find their owners or hand them off to a rescue. And I've certainly done my share of dog sitting for my boss and other people I know. So, no, I love dogs. I just don't happen to have one right now. Now that I more or less work at home, I've been thinking about maybe getting a dog, but I don't know. My Calvin is 16 now. He's an old guy, and I just don't think he would take too kindly to that, so I don't want to put him through an inordinate amount of stress at this age, but we'll see. Maybe someday I'll have a dog. Do any of you have dogs? Yeah, 16, he's old. Rocky, the cat who Rocky is based off of, obviously, lived to be 20, actually. Somehow, he survived that long. He had quite a talent for getting himself into trouble, but he must have had lucky special powers or something. Twitch Veneer says 20? Yeah, they can live to be, especially if they're not outdoor cats, then they can live a pretty long time these days. Just like with people, medical care and such has improved, and even though people are often up in arms about the nutritional contents of commercial cat food and dog food, it's actually quite an improvement over what it used to be. Still has a lot more corn in it than any animal would naturally eat, but so do the rest of American diets, I suppose. They're all just full of corn. Not Terribly Clever says, pets live long because they're tough old beans. They can be, yes. A barn cat of yours lived to be 19. Wow, that's impressive. Barn cats do tend to be tough old beans, I guess. If there were more hours in a day, I would write more stories about Mrs. Babka. There just aren't enough comics out there about old ladies or old lady cats. They don't get enough literary love. Resident says, I don't know, I feel like Mrs. Babka would feature in an Arsenic and Old Lace-esque story. Probably, yes. She'd be a good fit in something like that. Good call. Koi Pondering says, I send your Mrs. Babka comics to my grandmother, who just turned 80 and refuses to get old. Good for her. That's the right attitude to have. Also, I'm honored. Scruffy says Mrs. Babka would make a nice old lady crime solver in her own comic. Yeah, I could see her doing kind of a Miss Marple sort of a mystery thing. No one could ever understand what she was saying. She'd solve the mystery nevertheless. Macklar says, planning on going to India. I'm going to be living there for 11 months. Oh, wow. Okay, they're really getting down to business with the fireworks, so sorry about that. What are you going to India for? That sounds pretty exciting. Sand Shark Attack says, I choose to believe those are gunshots in the background caused by Rocky and the gang. Yeah. They've got work to do. Macklar says, I'm going there on foreign exchange. Wow. So you're going to be studying there? Whereabouts in India exactly, too? and you'll be wearing your club pin there. Well, I'm honored to know that. I hope you have a great time. That sounds like quite an adventure you have in store. Anyone got any plans for the holiday tomorrow? Mackler says, enough about me though. Anyway, Tracy, what other kinds of animals have you owned? All kinds of different things. I had rabbits for a while. I've had, I used to keep mice as pets. They were fun. I've had housemates who had pet rats. They were pretty fun too, when they weren't like crawling inside of my couch and getting lost inside of there. They're impossible to get out when they get inside of furniture. I've had, my brother and I had hamsters when I was growing up. I spent a lot of time around horses, but I never actually owned one of my own. My best friend through junior high and high school had horses though. So I did a lot of riding. Koi Pondering says, thank you very much for hosting these. I really enjoy getting to watch you draw, meet other fans of your work, and also get to listen to you. Well, thank you for joining me. It's really my pleasure. Glad anyone deigns to show up and listen to me ramble on and watch me draw. I appreciate it, really. But I do hope patrons get something out of it too. That's the whole point, really. Evil Industrialist says, I hope to finish up the last 2 color plates for the book this weekend. That's awesome. So you're kind of winding down on that. That's really great. What am I up to? I am working on comics. And I might go see the fireworks down at the park tomorrow night with a friend. But other than that, yeah, mostly just comics and art. And getting ready to go to San Diego Comic-Con next week. Resident says, I think Victor and Ivy's relationship has got to be my favorite in the comic. Ivy's just so perky and bubbly, but Victor's all like, tolerate her and she'll go away eventually. But he actually does enjoy her company. That's a pretty apt summation of it, yeah. I threw my back out so I get to spend the holiday weekend knitting on painkillers. Wow, well, sorry, I hope you feel better soon. That sounds painful. This may end up being the kind of sweater that Victor would be cursed or blessed with. He would grudgingly wear it. Resident says, I know we haven't seen much of Victor's family yet, but I wonder if she reminds him of his daughter. And I think at turns she reminds him of all the women who are missing from his life. Probably his wife and his daughter. Brock Rocks says, good evening, Tracy in chat. Hello, welcome. Resident says, now I want to see Ivy or back. I give Victor a hideous sweater that he would wear to make them feel good. No one would dare even snigger because he'd give them this one-eyed death glare. Almost no one would. Rocky seems to be the only one who lacks the, I don't know, the self-awareness or the common sense not to push Victor's buttons. Yeah, the inclination for self-preservation. Old-time GBA gamer says, I'm sorry I saw the cats and had to come here. No problem. Welcome. Sorry about the fireworks. I think my neighbors are doing their best to try to compete with the professional show they put on down at the park here. They've been setting off some pretty big stuff, so. Koi Pondering says, I really love your real cat form drawings. They're so much fun. Oh, thanks. I really enjoy drawing them. I guess it's kind of inevitable that I would do some more of these at some point. There's a zib up here that I started on, but it's really messy at the moment, so I'm not sure I quite like it. It's not quite right just yet. But trying to get them to look angular, but semi-liquid, I guess. The way cats tend to be in the warmer months. They just kind of melt in the little puddles. Resident says, wait, those are just your neighbors? Yeah. The, actually, it might be the park that you're hearing right now, but, before that, I think they started their show at 9:20, but, prior to that, yeah, that was just my neighbors. People go nuts with the fireworks in this area. I don't know, I'm sure some of the states in the South and probably Texas are just as bad or worse, but certainly wasn't like this where I grew up. We had those little snap things that you'd throw on the ground and sparklers, but yeah, we didn't really have like the big stuff they set off here. The Roman candles and things like that. For a while, I had my own line of fireworks and didn't even know it. So people started sending me pictures of the. It was some major fireworks manufacturer stole a bunch of my art and put it on fireworks packaging. That was frustrating. Evil Industrialist says, as you work on this more, do you find people seem more like cats? Yeah, I mean, I don't know, they always have kind of like occupied the same space in my mind in a way because every cat I've ever had has had such a unique personality, just the same as people. They're so clearly, I don't know, distinct and so easy to personify them that it just kind of works both ways in my head, I guess. Cats are people, people are cats. Twitched Manir says, Tracy, do you keep a script while creating Lackadaisy, like writing beforehand what you wanted to convey and portray? Yeah, I plan out everything before I begin doing serious artwork on it, and I have like a master outline that I work with for moving the story forward in a specific direction. But so the answer to that is yes. That said, I do like sometimes make spontaneous changes with usually nothing like extremely large or anything, but sometimes I'll rearrange the order in which things happen or cut panels, add new panels to try to communicate better what I'm trying to say. Rekraman says, it reminds me of some kind of Egyptian cat. Yeah, he looks a little, I don't know, like an Abyssinian or something. His looks are based, at least in part, off of a caracal, which is a really interesting looking type of feline, if you happen to know what they are. Mackler says, what's your favorite holiday, if you don't mind my asking? I don't know, I guess I'd say, I don't know, Christmas, because that's when I see my family once a year. I don't do any like religious celebrating or anything, but that's like the one time a year I get to go home and hang out with my brother and parents and niece and nephew and stuff, so that's always fun for me. Maclar says it looks like a Mao cat. Yeah, that's a good one too, an Egyptian Mao. Evil Industrialist says, what amazing line work. Your work has always been superb, but your sense of gesture just continues. Oh, thank you. That's very kind of you to say. I still get easily frustrated with certain aspects of the way I draw, but that's probably the same for every artist in some way. Resident says, so would something like a Savannah cat in your universe be especially large compared to the other characters, or do you not take actual breed size into account really when personifying them? Not a whole lot. I mean, most of them, I don't think of them as literal breeds or anything like that. I mean, they take some cues from different types of cats. Like Victor has some, I don't know, Maine Coon and Lynx mixed into him, and he's bigger than the other characters, noticeably. But in general, no. I mean, like a caracal that Zib is based off of would be quite a bit larger than a house cat, but still I don't think of him as, he's still, kind of an average size compared to the other characters. He's not especially large or anything. So, and Asa has some little bit of lion features worked in and things like that. So they're really just like, I don't know, they're people with cat features, kind of just symbolizing them, I suppose. Conglomerations of cat features. None of them are really a specific kind of cat exactly, except maybe if you count like an alley cat or a jazz cat or something. You could say that they're certainly those. Twitch Veneer says, so you have developed a story somewhat far ahead. Do you have any endgame situation you'd like to see for a character or characters? Yeah, I mean, they do have, the story has a beginning and end, so I don't want to give spoilers away. It's going to take me a while to get there yet, but I still have probably, the way things are going, it's probably 2.5 to 3 more volumes to go to finish out the story, but yeah, I do. Resident says, why are you painting over the excess lines rather than erasing? Is there something preferable in how it works out? No, I mean, there's really not a heck of a lot of difference in this particular case. I tend to lean toward painting over them because simply because sometimes I'll usually be working with multiple layers. Right now this is just a background layer and nothing else, so erasing would essentially be the same thing as painting over what I'm doing. But if I had other layers below this, like I usually do, then erasing would let the other layers show through, and so that's why I tend tend to just default to using a paintbrush to fix my messy line work. Yeah, he's shaped like a brick house, like a certain kind of brick house. Koi Pondering says, we ever put out a sketchbook with your more rough drawings, other choices? I would personally be thrilled to get my grubbing mitts on it. Well, I'm glad you're interested. Thanks. I am putting together an art book with my publisher, and we'll include some sketchy stuff in there. Quite a bit of it, actually. So the answer to that is kind of yes. It won't be specifically just sketches, but it'll be mini comics and tutorials and some sketchy stuff and other types of art that didn't really fit into don't really belong with the canon comic itself in one of those books. Got so much stuff I've accumulated over the years. Gotta find something to do with it, so put it into a book, I guess. Yeah, I guess it'll be more like it'll be an art book with a concept art section, would be probably the best way to describe. Pondering says, I really love your side comments like tea time and with Victor and your personal small marmoset appearances. Thanks. The chit chat times. Mostly just another way to try to address reader comments and questions without resorting to just typing out answers, which tends to be the boring way to do it. Fireworks at the park should be wrapping up soon, so hopefully it'll quiet down a little. Mackler says, I really just want a book that's a single picture of Victor, and every time you turn the page, it just zooms closer to his face. Until the very end, when you could see your reflection in his pupil, right? Koi Pondering. Also, Mitzi is the head of my office with the turn to July. Oh, cool. My whole department comes over to see what the new month will be. I'm flattered. Yeah, that's, I think, the grand finale right now, so. We could market it as a children's book. Call it Pat the Victor. Or don't. Victor has his eye on you. That's another good candidate. Koi Pondering says, I have a question suggestion. Will we ever have the individual images used for the bio page as individual options like postcards or posters or something? I really love Victor's propaganda poster. Well, thanks. I'm glad you like them. Most of them were available, or many of them were available in the 40E store. I think some are still there, but I'll have to talk to my publisher about kind of restocking them and maybe doing mini prints of some of the others. I think it's been kind of a while since I reevaluated what prints were on offer, so it'd be good to address that. The Victor one might still be available, but you'd have to go to the 40e.com shop and see what was actually there. But I'll be talking with my publisher about this stuff next week at Comic-Con, so I'll be sure to mention that to them. Thank you for the suggestion. Twitch Veneer says Victor Zib and Mordecai prints are all available. Okay. I know Rocky's was in there too at some point, but I'll see if I can get them to do more than that and expand on that a little. Add Seraphine's in there and maybe Freckles and Ivy's. Thanks for looking. I don't even know what my own prints are on sale right now, which ones are currently available. It's easy to be distracted with just trying to get the art done. Artists tend not to make the greatest business people. I wish I had a better acumen for that, but Macklar says, speaking of Seraphine, when I saw that you commented on my digital painting of her, I died of joy. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think you can find that in my my DeviantArt favorites. Funny thing about cats is no matter how big and burly you make them, they still have tiny little feet. Yes, I think it was on Tumblr as well. I believe I reblogged it from Tumblr. Taco the Squirrel says, I got a print I ordered in the mail today. It was Mordecai, and it's so awesome. Oh, glad you like it. It's time to do a restock of prints and add some new ones in there. Yeah, I thought that was a really great picture. Thank you again. Resident says, which is too bad, I still haven't gotten a copy of Volume 1. Do you know when it'll be coming back into print? It is in print. You should be able to find it on in the 40e.com store in both softcover and hardcover. And on Amazon, if it's easier for you to order that way, you should be able to get it there too. Matt says, I'm the subreddit guy. Oh, hi. Welcome. Thanks again for making that. I haven't posted around about it yet, but it's on my list of things to do. See if I can get some people interested. There is a Lackadaisy subreddit now, just in case you guys don't know about it yet, and you probably don't because I haven't mentioned it. I'll make a post after this on Patreon about it, and share it on Tumblr too. That might be a fun place to get some discussion going. If anyone's interested. Oh, you're waiting to get the Lackadaisy URL, and it's taking ages? Is that one taken already or something? Or I know the for Lackadaisy.com I waited for years to get that one. And then I had to ultimately pay the person who was squatting on it to get it, so I don't know how it works with Reddit though. If you have to submit a request or something. Maclar says, do you ever get bored of drawing the same cats over and over? I know a lot of people request Mordecai themed art. No, I generally, I still enjoy drawing all of them. I like to just kind of think of, if I was drawing the same like pose and expression over and over again or something, I'd get bored, but I like to, challenges me to think of different angles and different situations or expressions to draw them with, so I usually find a way to enjoy it. I mean, comic art in general is a lot of repetition of drawing the same characters anyway, so you better find some characters you enjoy drawing, and I do, so Oh, you said, okay. Matt says, it has no moderators, so I just have to request it and I'll get it. But I requested another subreddit this month, so I have to wait. Oh, okay, I see. But if any of the fine people in this chat can request it, that'll speed it up. Oh, okay. So, hey, if anyone is a Reddit user and is interested in being a moderator for a Lackadaisy subreddit, then either talk to Matt here, or I guess make a post in the Lackadaisy comic Reddit subreddit, and that would be awesome. If not, though, that's okay. I'll like I said, I'll post around and see if there's any. I'll include a link to the existing one, and I'll see if there's any interest in moderation. Twitch Veneer says cyber squatting people are worse than Hitler. Not worse than Stalin, but they're getting there. Okay. Yeah, that might be a little bit of hyperbole, but it is quite annoying that they do that. Yeah. I mean, in some cases, if you own like a trademark to something, you can. You do have some recourse to take it away from people who are just sitting on it and have like placeholder stuff there, but it's not easy. Resident says, are there ever any characters that you sometimes wish were more loved? Well, I guess so, but I mean, in general, I usually am just thrilled that anybody likes any of the characters at all, so I kind of just take it for whatever it is, really, and appreciate any love that any of them get. And it changes too, like depending on what's going on in the comic. There have been times when like Freckle was really popular after the whole pig farmer debacle, and Victor was really popular for a while when he was doing his thing. And Ivy was really popular around the time when she and Rocky were getting themselves in trouble in the cornfields out there. So it changes too. So I'm not too, usually if right now I'm doing a lot of Mordecai stuff, so Mordecai's getting a lot of requests for Mordecai art and stuff. So I think it really is just it depends a lot on just what's going on at any given moment in the comic. Yeah, it just seems like, I don't know, the natural way of things, so. Matt says, the guy that owns Matt.com has a terrible blog and won't sell it for anything. Yeah, I actually had somebody emailing me the other day wanting to buy my Fox Prints URL, but actually everything I have online is technically hosted there, so I can't, that's my livelihood depends on that, so I can't sell it. Koi Pondering says, I head up to Mrs. Babcock political party. It's lots of tea and questionable sandwiches. Nice. Should have a little flag with a sardine on it. And a cup of tea. Reckerman says, I really connected with Mitzi during the Pearls incident where she was all, I can put this back together. And I was like, yeah, you can, girl, go get it. Yeah. I think Zib was on board with that so much, but for better or worse, I think Mitzi's heart is in it at least. Rocky Rickaby says back had to make more beignets. Sounds good. I really wish I could save transcripts of these chats to post along with the videos on YouTube. Because this chat is the best part, really. Scruffy says, not saving the chat scroll is a major miss on Twitch's part. Yeah. It'd be pretty neat if they could do that, but maybe there is some way to do it. I'll do some looking around to see if there is, but I'm not too hopeful. Fussing over these expressions a bit. Twitch Veneer says, how do you broadcast your Cintiq, Tracy? Well, it's basically just another monitor. So I just I use OBS and just select the set it up so that the monitor it focuses on is my Cintiq, that's really all there is to it. Travis Daly says, how do you decide when a picture needs to be given up on? It's there's no like I don't have any specific criteria. It's usually just if something just isn't really feels like it's not coming together, or I just kind of lose the spark that I had when I first started it. Like something seems like a really great idea sometimes, and then you get going on it and it's like, oh, this is terrible. What am I thinking? So it's really just, yeah, I don't know, instinct, I guess. Sometimes I'll put something aside and think, oh, I'll return to this at some later time, and then I never do. Or sometimes I do return to it, and but I'll start over on it or something and try to come up with a different approach to it. So, and lots of stuff gets thrown away or just lost on my hard drive somewhere because it's just, kind of abandoned. Scruffy says, I wonder if you could set up a browser on a second computer and record the chat scroll there along with the main stream. There probably is a way to do that, but I don't know exactly how. I mean, I could nudge Photoshop over and then move the browser onto this display, but I don't know if that would kind of defeat the purpose of the artwork. Matt says, I think you can grab the entire chat with timestamps using a bot and then have the chat re-scroll the log along to the timestamp of the video. But that's work and junk. Yeah, it does sound like work, but I'll take a quick look around and see if I can find something that's easy and quick and Twitch Mirror says, if it's only another monitor and you use OBS, I think Chatty would do the work of displaying the chat then. Chatty, is that pardon my ignorance, is that a plugin of some kind, or? Resident says, do you find short hairs or big fluff balls more difficult to draw? Also, are there any characters that just fall onto the page well every time, but others that are a problem? Children, this is not being difficult every time you draw them. It changes based on just any given day that I'm working on stuff. Sometimes one character comes out easy and another doesn't, and then the next day it'll be a different character that's a problem character. And I don't know why that is, but it's like Freckle sometimes gives me trouble, like staying on model with him for some reason has been a little tricky, but I mean, most of the characters I don't generally have a big issue with, but some days it's just like my drawing is just off. I've heard other artists complain about similar things. It's a little bizarre how you can just like not get anything down on paper properly one day and then go to sleep and get up the next day and then things start coming out the way you intended. It doesn't make a heck of a lot of sense, but seems to be how it works. So I'm thankful for the days when I could put a pencil to paper and get something that looks roughly like what I had in mind. Rocky Rickaby says my sound keeps cutting out. Oh, sorry about that. Twitch Veneer says Chatty is a program built on Java that basically lets you access any Twitch channel's chat using a Twitch account. Okay. A Twitch chat client, gotcha. Okay. Good to know. Yeah, I figure I'll do some coloring on it. Just a little bit. Nothing too fancy. Start with a base color that's actually darker than what I'll actually want to use. But that's so that I can kind of paint a fur texture on top of it. Arbrez says, any shirtless Victors this week? Well, technically this cat is Victor and it's not wearing a shirt, so if you want to be pedantic about it, then yes. Matt says, so I've been all inspired by you and Bittersweet Candy Bowls comics lately, and I bought a tablet. Now I'm learning to art. Awesome. Good for you. Rec Herman says, I heard something about shirtless Victor and came running. What? Oh, someone asked. Well, you can read the chat. That's okay. I was just saying this technically is a shirtless Victor, but it's also a pantsless Victor, but still family friendly. Insane776 says, Tracy, have you ever read Bittersweet Candy Bowl? I think Calvin and Rocky have a cameo in an early chapter. I have not spent any time with that comic, no. I guess I should check it out. The thing about Calvin and Rocky having a cameo sounds vaguely familiar, though, so maybe I probably have visited the site before, but I don't know. I don't think I read it all the way through. Putting some simple base coats down right now, base colors. To read BCB all the way through is to sacrifice multiple days, says Matt. Oh, it's a long running one, huh? $1,900 pages, wow. That's insane. Impressive too. just knowing from experience how much work goes into making comics, I have to tip my hat to that. Anybody who has done a long running webcomic that has like hundreds and hundreds of pages to it is at least part machine. Insane 776 says Black Set is awesome. Yeah, it's quite a marvel of artwork. People started telling me about it when I started doing Lackadaisian. One of my readers, actually, she was for a long time was the moderator on the Lackadaisy forum, gave me a Black Set book. I think it's like the first two comics they did, it's the graphic novels, really. Mackler, that's the guy from the pawn shop. He doesn't have a name, but the pawn shop is called Youngerman's, so I guess that's probably his last name. Can his name be Alice? Sure, you can call him Alice. They call him Old Man, Younger Man. Yeah. Mackler says, I'll just call him Tidbits. That's an appropriate nickname for him. Was someone just shot? No, that's just more fireworks from the neighbors. Resident says they're still going with those. They just have a garage full of fireworks. It wouldn't surprise me. I think it's more than one neighbor, though. When I say neighbors, I mean it's like my whole street. They're getting down with the fireworks. Sure, it'll be even noisier tomorrow. Every day is Independence Day in the glorious Eagle Land of America. Yep. That is accurate. When I was growing up in Massachusetts, it was actually illegal to set off fireworks like these in your own yard. We had to drive to Connecticut just to smuggle in sparklers and things. Oh no, the police don't know about my underground facility. Not yet, anyway. Yeah, eagles make, Resident says red-tailed hawk cry. Yeah, that's what they use for eagles, because eagles make wussy-sounding noises. Same with lion roars. They're actually tiger roars, because tigers sound much deeper and lower. Resident says, yeah, we had to do that in New York as well. Drive down to Pennsylvania where they're legal and just bring them back. Yep. If people want to blow their fingers off with fireworks, they're going to find a way to do it. Here's what the lump actually looks like right now. Evil industrialist says, in this stony landscape, everything echoes. Is that, do you mean Vegas specifically? Because you're kind of in like a big crater surrounded by mountains, aren't you? Nutmeg says, I just started a new sketchbook today. I've filled up 4 so far. What sort of things do you draw? Hargread says, who's going to make a cameo first, Garfield or Heathcliff? Yeah, probably neither of them. About Garfield minus Garfield. A Manson Nixon line. Nice. Fritz the cat, yeah. Or Crazy Cat. The cats in Jam are kids. They aren't really cats. Yeah, Crazy Cat would be certainly the most synchronistic contemporary to the comic anyway. Harbrez says, at least it wasn't Plague Dogs or Watership Down. I hear their Plague Dogs is wrenching. I hear they're making, the Brits are making a, remaking Watership Down animated version, multi-part thing or something like that. I loved that movie as a kid, and the book too. Insane776 says, have you ever seen Feel a Day? I have not. People keep mentioning it to me though, so I'll try to fit it in sometime. Matt says, how do you practice your art? Do you have a daily ritual? I'm not sure if you're asking me or somebody else, but I mean, I just draw every single day because that's my job, basically. So it varies what I'm working on, but sometimes I'm working on illustrations for playing cards, or comic art, or thumbnailing panels, or penciling, or doing the tone work on it digitally, or doing layout, or doing reward drawings, which are kind of sketchy, but those are good practice. But yeah, I mean, everything's kind of like there's no real line for me between doing the work and practicing. It's all kind of one and the same. Okay, so how did you practice before this was your job? Same way. I was just I was kind of just obsessed with drawing, so I did it all the time as a kid. All through my school years, I would just draw all over my school notes and school papers. Some of my teachers liked that, and some did not appreciate it. It's just kind of been a compulsion since I can remember to draw, so just do it all the time, and that's tantamount to practicing. Certainly I've done things to attempt to get better too, though. I mean, with deliberateness, just by doing it you tend to get better, but I mean, I've spent some time doing figure drawings and things, drawing from life and stuff like that to try to learn. Hello, Bedlamnak. Welcome. So I guess, Matt, the reason you're asking is because you're trying to pick up drawing. Is it something that you've spent? I know you said you started drawing because of this, and Bittersweet Candy Bowl. Is it something you've ever spent time doing, or are you just kind of really new to it? Or? Matt says, do you know any artists that started at like 20 years plus? Yes, I do. It's never too late to start. I want to say Reagan Lodge. I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but he started in adulthood and became very excellent at what he does. He's a comic artist. You might want to look up if you're interested. Takes a lot of he took a lot of inspiration from artists like Matt Rhodes, some of the professionals working in the game industry right now, concept artists. But yeah, don't feel like 20 is young, so don't feel like that's like too old to start or anything like that. Don't let anybody convince you that you can't pick it up when you're an adult. Some people don't start until they're 40 or 60 or whatever, so. Bedlamnack says, do you ever do commissions for people? On rare occasions I do. It's right now I'm kind of limiting it to just doing it for patrons. It's kind of a reward drawing system, and if I ever do a Kickstarter or something, I'll probably offer some artwork as rewards. But I've done little commission pieces and things for people in the past. I just usually don't have a heck of a lot of time to spend on stuff like that, so, including right now. So. Resident says to Matt, try starting with gesture drawings every day. A great way to warm up is with something like Pose Maniacs. Yeah, I agree. Things like that are great. Doing quick little sketches. If you have like pets or something, doing little drawings of them as they lay around sleeping is excellent practice. Or even people, if they'll sit still for you. But you don't have to make it like a 2-hour session or something. You can just limit yourself to like 5 or 10 minute sketches. Get the basic form of the figure down. Don't worry about being messy. Be as messy as you want. That's what sketching's all about. There's also lots of resources out there, like you can find instructional stuff online. I suggest like Imaginism or Schoolism, which is Bobby Chu's stuff. There's also Skillshare that has tons of different types of instructional videos and things on it. There is a pay service there, but you can usually watch anything there for free at like low resolution. So I know Gumroad has a lot of things too. So, or even just for free on YouTube, you can search around and find like people doing instructional videos, figure drawing, and things like that. I'll sometimes just turn things like that on while I work, just to see if I can pick up little extra pointers here and there. Yeah, Resident says don't be afraid to straight up copy for practice. Definitely copying stuff does help. Don't like post it somewhere and claim it's your original work or something. Just, treat it like practice, but it does help a lot to figure out how an artist thinks and such, to just basically copy what they've done. And I would recommend doing that, and don't like stick with one style, like go down the anime road and draw nothing but anime, because then you will be able to draw nothing but anime, and everything you draw that is an attempt to not draw anime will still look like anime. Same thing with like Disney or whatever. It's a lot of us start out by emulating or imitating rather stuff that we like as kids, and then you end up in later years when you realize that you want to be serious about your art and maybe make a profession of it or whatever. You have to put a whole lot of energy into not drawing something that looks like Disney or anime or whatever. So it does help to learn like life drawing and things like that first, because then you can take that like real fundamental knowledge and apply it to any style you want to draw in. But if you just learn to draw in a style to begin with, it kind of becomes the foundation of anything you draw. So you start by drawing what you know, and then you're making an anime face next thing you know, even if you're trying to draw a more realistic face. So a basis in reality is a good thing, because that's like any style is an abstraction of reality, really. But if you're drawing like if your basis is not in reality but in anime, that becomes like the baseline thing you know how to draw. And so you're then drawing like an abstraction of anime, so it's like an abstraction of an abstraction, instead of really being in control of really understanding what you're doing, and starting with like real, and then I don't know, I'm kind of rambling, but maybe it makes a little sense. Just be careful where your fundamental knowledge lies, I guess, is what I'm saying. Developing a style, I mean, after you've done a lot of just life drawing and copying other things and stuff like that, and you just like start drawing what's in your head, you kind of develop, I mean, all those things kind of snowball into a style. So you don't have to, it's almost something that happens naturally. If your influences have been varied, and you have some background knowledge and stuff, it's like it just starts to emerge organically, so to speak. Resident says, yeah, once you get the self-referential whirlpool, not a lot of outside influence comes in. Right. It's actually something I've seen Miyazaki rail against, is that way that anime artists will draw with an influence coming from other anime, instead of drawing with influence from life. And so everything starts to look very incestuous, for lack of a better term. But you see the same thing with like American style comics and stuff. Like everything, all that superhero stuff tends to start just looking so repetitive and samey. And you see it in concept art for games as well, really. like you can spot, like you can look at a sci-fi style piece of concept art and almost like tell immediately which decade it came from because kind of everything just so self-referential. Koi Pondering, good night. Thanks for joining in. Have a good night and a good holiday weekend. Resident says, I'm sorry, I feel like I don't shut up here. I'm going to attempt to stop talking. Don't worry about it. You're fine. That's what the chat's for talking.